We're going to be catching up with Momentum World, and I believe we have got Chris Green and Alix Wood. Are you both there? How are you doing?
Yes, thank you.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Lovely to meet you both. So could you tell us who you are and a little bit about yourselves? Could we start off with you, Chris?
Yes, I'm Chris Green. I am the national coordinator of a thing called the Summer Camps Trust. We exist to promote the idea that if we in Britain, like many other countries, if we had a national system of well-run residential summer camps with lots and lots of children going, that it would be a very good addition to our national educational provision. And it particularly because it enables children from different backgrounds, different parts of the country and different kinds of schools to meet up with each other, an opportunity which isn't readily available any other way in our societies. I've during my life, I've run several organisations that offered summer camps, and I've seen hundreds of thousands of children take part and have an amazing time, and a lot of people train as leaders who've also got a great deal out of it.
Amazing stuff. A lot of experience there straight off the bat. Can I go to you, Alix? Can you tell us who you are exactly and a little bit about yourself?
I'm Alix. I was on summer camps. I had the lucky opportunity to go as a child and benefit from them. I then trained as a monitor, so as a young leader, to take groups of children, and then went on to train to be an assistant director on some camps. So I've seen the summer camps from all those different perspectives and the benefits that they can have. So I'm maybe here to give that sort of angle, of the younger slant on it.
Lovely job.
Chris, could you tell us about the history of the summer camps and why and how they were started?
Summer camps in general, in other countries than ours, America, of course, and Canada, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, have big national networks of summer camps controlled by special departments of government very often, and they were set up in the early part of the 20th century. But they started by taking poor and deprived children out of the inner cities to go and have a holiday in the countryside, and gradually they grew until nowadays in most countries where there are big national networks of summer camps. The idea is, as I said, that it provides a meeting ground for children from all sorts of backgrounds to meet up and to get to know each other. So you might have, in a summer camp in Britain, you might have in one bed a girl from a posh independent school in Surrey. In the next bed, you'll have a girl from inner city Leeds. And in that context, all the labels have gone. They're not posh school girl or inner city girl. They're simply Jane and Julia having a good time together. And the benefits to both of them of having that opportunity to have a nice time together and live in a community together are enormous.
Oh, that's so brilliant. I like the way you're taking labels away. That's quite a big thing in my mind as well. You've talked obviously a fair bit there about sort of locations, but where exactly are the camps based, or is it more sort of general?
Well, I mean, in Britain, where we're trying to get summer camps going, the problem in Britain is, which is why the Summer Camps Trust needs to exist, that only about 2% of our children ever go near good residential summer camps, which is a shame because what they have to offer is just what children need these days. But summer camps can take place in field studies centres, outdoor education centres, etc., that are available in the summer holidays, or they can take place in boarding schools, places like that. Some of them can take place under canvas. So really an enormous number. And one of the good things about summer camps, if we could get a national scheme going, is it enables children to see other parts of Britain they wouldn't otherwise see. When I ran what was called Colony Holidays for School Children, we had a centre at Stornoway and the Outer Hebrides. We took children to Orkney. We took them all over the country, England, Wales and Scotland. And indeed, we had an offshoot in Northern Ireland. So it enables children to visit places they wouldn't otherwise see.
How long are these summer camps?
Mostly a week. under a week, it's difficult to do it's difficult to establish a community. Longer would be better in some ways, but these days, with the costs being what they are, if you made them much longer than a week, fewer parents would be able to afford them.
That's very understandable. And you've talked obviously about younger people. I mean, what age group are they for?
Well, most summer camp organisations operate for children from about the age of 9. The occasional 8-year-old goes, but from about the age of 9 up to about the age of 15 or 16.
How many children take part in each camp?
Again, it'll vary. You probably need about 25 or 30 in order to make a decent community, but not more than 70, 75, because otherwise people can't all feel one community by the end. They all get to know each other.
Those numbers start going up, don't they? And I mean, I can imagine that impacts the kind of activities that happen there. I mean, talking of that, what kind of activities are included in these camps?
Well, again, it'll vary. Some organisations, notably the commercial organisations like PGL and Kingswood Inspiring Learning, most of them will do mainly outdoor activity type things like canoeing and rock climbing and those sort of things. But there's also a place for a summer camp that contains simply games running about in the woods and drama and singing and handicrafts and campfires and stories and all those sort of things. So it will vary very widely. They just need to be things children like doing in holidays.
Lovely.
And so, indeed, one of the important things that a good summer camp sector could give is building our national expertise on children's leisure activities. I reckon that the summer camp organisations I've run know more good children's games than almost anybody else in the country. And they're games that children really enjoy playing, many of them now out of fashion. They don't play them very much in the playground these days. But bringing those games back, they're just the sort of thing children ought to be doing. And that expertise would, I think, be very useful, not only in summer camps, but to teachers and all sorts of people who look after children in any context.
Alex, what are the benefits of taking part in one of these camps and summer camps and working on them?
So for children, like Chris has said, the sort of integration of children from all over the countries, having a break from school life, having new social interactions where sometimes they can sort of reinvent themselves or not at all, just sort of be a child as they are, run around in the woods, make new friends, learn new games, songs, and develop sort of become more confident with how they interact and take some of those skills back home with them to their everyday life. For sort of leaders and younger people volunteering for the organisation, again, sort of a similar experience that can be had in that you're learning new games, you're making new friends with other young volunteers, you're getting to impact and see the change in children from the beginning of the week to the end, which can be really beneficial. And I think you do learn a lot of transferable skills. So I think it's really good for whatever you're going into in your life, be it something similar like teaching where there's massive parallels that can be drawn, or something completely different. There's always transferable skills in terms of your communication with other children, other adults your age, and older adults, that can be really valuable.
Alex, I believe you've sort of mentioned there about that you're a camp leader. Could you tell us about your actual connection with summer camps a little bit more?
Yeah, so my connection with summer camps is I have worked for 80 Super Weeks, who run residential summer camps. They are sort of less along the lines of the PGL sort of thing, where you might do abseiling and something else all in one day. And whilst those sort of activities can be included, and there is lots of scope for various day trips and activities, there is a lot of focus on big games, outdoor play, indoor games, singing, like we were saying, campfires, crafting, activities in the woods. So they're who I've been working with. I worked for them for several years as a leader. So I trained for.
Oh, I think have we just lost
Most
Alex
summers
there?
for several years.
Sorry, Alex, you cut out briefly there. Sorry, please don't let me stop you.
So yeah, I worked as a leader for several years, leading small groups. So that generally on these holidays, you have the total number of children, and then they're split into smaller groups. And a younger volunteer will lead a smaller group. And obviously, the holiday will come together a lot, but individually, your focus is a smaller group of children. And then I did another week's training course to become an assistant director. So that's facilitating larger games, being there sort of to support the younger volunteers, and to help the director with anything they need as well.
Why did you want to be a leader? And through this journey of becoming a leader, what have you learned along the way?
So I was lucky enough to go on summer camps as a child. And I think a lot of it to start with was partly not wanting that to end. So really having benefited and enjoyed those experiences, thinking, if I can go and carry on playing these games and being in that little bubble where you can sort of leave, whether it's school, university, work, whatever it is at home, any stresses, you leave it for a week. You spend a lot of time outside, and I think that really appealed to me. And then when I got there as well, I think it did become less about, I want to sing that song, and more about just sort of the interactions and seeing children have a lovely time, and having a lovely time yourself, and just lots of, like I was saying before, lots of transferable skills, I think, in terms of bringing things back to your workplace or anything else, and confidence building, but just having a lovely time, really.
Brilliant. So you've given so many positives there. What would you say was the best thing about being a leader? And following on from that, how can someone actually become a leader themselves?
So the best thing probably, for me, so it's sort of getting out of everyday life, I think, and doing something that you feel good about and benefits other people. Just sort of is a sort of double-edged sword of good for you, good for them sort of thing. And I think there's various training courses. I obviously only know about the organisation that I've worked for, so ATE, but I think COVID's had an impact with how and when courses are run, but you can find a lot of them. Have a look on that or give them a call. But in terms of other ones, I'm not 100% sure.
So obviously you talked about COVID affecting these courses. Are there any actually courses for camp leaders happening at the moment? And when they are, how long are they?
Can I answer that?
Oh, by all means, please. By all means, Chris.
Yes. The Summer Camps Trust, we are trying to get more young people in to train as volunteer leaders in summer camps. And the Summer Camps Trust is running 2 training courses this July. And unfortunately, they're both full, so there aren't any spaces for this year. But any young person aged 17 up to about 23 who was interested could always go onto the Summer Camps Trust website and would find out where the leader training courses were being held. They're fully residential. You need to live in for a week and be trained. And a lot of the training is about living together, since you experience a similar atmosphere to the one the children will experience when they go to summer camp. And it's convincing young volunteers that is of value, that enables them to do a great job when they actually get to the summer camp.
Lovely job, Chris. Timing is impeccable, because I've got one I do need to direct right at you here. What impact has lockdown had on the trust in general?
Disastrous. I think probably almost all providers of residential education of any kind are suffering. I know there's a number of outdoor education centres that have gone bankrupt. I know there's a number of summer camp providers that will not survive, which is very sad. It depends to some degree whether we are or are not allowed to run our programmes of summer camps this summer. And a lot of voices at the moment urging caution, and if in the end this year's summer camps are not able to run, or they are able to run, but only with restrictions, like only for groups of 15 socially distanced, so to make them impossible, you can't run a summer camp like that. So if we're not allowed to do what we hope to do this summer, I fear there will be a lot more organisations that don't survive, because they've already had 1 year of paying their staff and paying their centres, but getting no income and having to refund all the deposits paid. If they have to do that again, many won't survive, I fear.
So I've read that there's a tryout camp. Could you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yes, the idea of tryout camps, I mean, the Summer Camps Trust exists only with the objective of trying to convince many more parents, children and schools that attending summer camps is something really worth doing. Just the pure fact of living for a week, right away from mobile phones, social media, all those sort of things, simply running about in the countryside being children, is something that in this day and age our children need very badly. But sadly, because it's not something that is part of mainstream thinking in our country, then we need to try and find ways of persuading more people that this is something worth looking at for their children. The idea of a tryout camp is it's run at what you might call a special offer price. We're charging £295 for a week's fully residential, including accompanied travel from and back to somewhere near a child's home. And the idea is to get children in. They're only allowed to attend a tryout camp once. In the following year, Summer Camps Trust said to them, well, you can't go to another tryout camp, but you may want to go to any one of these other wonderful summer camps. So we hope that will enable us to get children in who wouldn't otherwise have come in, and then once they're in, convince them and their parents what a good thing it is.
This sounds really good. So continuing down now the line of obviously coronavirus, the lockdown being eased a little bit, when are the next camps going to be held?
Well, in theory, we have two tryout camps this August, one being run by ATE, the organisation that Alix works with, being run at Nettlecombe Court in Somerset in early August, and another one run after that by Nottinghamshire Outdoor Education at Camp Redwood, which is a fantastic tented camp in the middle of Sherwood Forest, for another week. So those are the two on offer at the moment.
So with all this news about all these camps, how can parents and carers go about signing up their children to go to one of these?
Well, the first thing probably is to go onto the Summer Camps Trust website, which contains details of leader training and details of tryout camps and details of all the other things the Summer Camps Trust is trying to do to raise interest in summer camps. They'll find the full directions on the website of how to sign their children up.
Lovely job. We've actually got a couple of websites to read out at the end. But could you tell us something about something a little bit different? The Book of Things to Do.
Well, the Summer Camps Trust Book of Things to Do, when lockdown first started, and it was clear we were not going to be able to deliver very much on the ground in 2020, our chairman suggested, why don't we use some of our expertise in games and handicrafts and activities for children that are not dependent on screens to help parents who are locked down at home with their children. So we revamped two books that Colony Holidays published in the 1970s, the holiday book of things to do and the second holiday book of things to do. We put those together into one book, the Summer Camps Trust Book of Things to Do, and it contains about 150 ideas for different games, different things to make, different aspects of nature study, different drama activities, all sorts of things like that. And that sold well during lockdown. We put up 50 of the activities on free access on our website for parents who wanted to use them, with the hope that those parents who found those activities really interesting would then consider signing their children up for summer camps when all this was over. So the Summer Camps Trust Book of Things to Do costs £10. It's still available. Again, people can order that through the Summer Camps Trust website. I think it contains, probably contains more screen-free activities than almost any other activity book about.
Fantastic stuff. Chris, Alex, it's been lovely to have you on the show today. Please come back again soon. It's lovely to hear about all the wonderful things you're doing and the fact that you're ploughing on through, regardless of coronavirus and lockdown, you're managing to keep things going. It's been lovely having you. Please come back again soon.
Thank you very much.
Lovely job there. That was Chris and Alex there with Momentum World and the Summer Camps Trust. If you want to find out more about summer camps, go to the website www.summercampstrust.org. And if you want to find out more about Momentum World, please go to their website, which is www.momentumworld.org. So www.summercampstrust.org and www.momentumworld.org. Brilliant stuff. Really good to hear the kind of stuff you're doing.
Camping's important because, in schools, activities week is usually when they go camping or outdoor activity thing. And it makes a huge difference to them to be in a location away from school. And you kind of learn how they're different from in schools and out. And obviously, also, it gives people with special needs and disabilities and behaviour issues a chance to shine. Because usually that's, if you give them that outlet, you see amazing things.
And everyone learns and expresses themselves in different ways. And this is like one of those ways. We were talking about earlier, like learning different ways. And this is like kind of one of the things I like to think about because it really does help.
It's the practical aspect.
Exactly.